that's a threat.
You don't see the problem?
If we believe in the First Amendment, we believe in the First Amendment.
Yes, I think when he speaks out, when he says these people are bad and disgusting and they're
not.
Jimmy No Talent Kimmel has been put on the bench. Now, this is great news for America, if you ask me. And before we watch the CNN meltdown, let us set the record straight. Jimmy No Talent Kimmel Live was not a comedy show. It was a propaganda machine the lunatic left was using to push the woke agenda, to spread the radical ideologies and mislead the American people. That's what it was.
People around
you
this
don't
country
have a
don't
right
like
to work for whoever you want to. You have a right to say what you want,
but you're
not
forgetting
to be
about the
employed by
threats,
anyone.
which Abby's going to play.
Here's the reason I want to play this, okay? Because I think we're willfully ignoring the threat, which was explicit. It wasn't implicit, it was explicit. Listen to what he actually said.
They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
It'd be a shame what happens to your nice network. It'd be a shame what happens to your nice show. That's a threat.
No, this is not a threat. This is accountability. Now, I know it is very hard for the Democrats to understand the word accountability. It's hard for them to get it. When you are given a license to perform a duty, it comes with responsibility. Now, for someone like Jimmy No Talent Kimmel to come on national television and imply the shooter, the killer of our friend Charlie Kirk was a MAGA, when it has been proven this individual was a lunatic from the left, there must be accountability. You are knowingly misinformed the public. There must be accountability.
Well, and not only that, but then Donald Trump took to Truth Social and then said further, that leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also terrible. Do it, NBC.
Yes, absolutely. This show was supposed to be gone 10 years ago. For people that don't know, this was supposed to be a comedy show. But since President Trump got into politics 10 years ago, they just shifted and made it all anti-Trump, anti-MAGA. Now, I understand. How do you have a late night comedy show when the host is not even funny? Jimmy No Talent Kimmel is not a funny person.
I mean, it will never end. But, just worth noting, just a couple years ago, back in 2019, Brandon Carr, he tweeted this on a different topic. Should the government censor speech it doesn't like? Of course not. The FCC does not have a roving mandate to police speech in the name of the public interest. And yet, he is doing exactly that today. Where does this end? Where does this end in your mind? You are fully comfortable with the government saying, if you don't do this, if you don't get this person off the air who said something that was wrong or that you did not like, we are going to drop the hammer on you.
No,
you're good with that?
No, I didn't like it when the Biden administration worked with big tech during COVID.
This is absolutely not the same thing. Biden went and pressured Facebook, pressured Twitter, all the tech companies to make sure he was able to win the election in 2020. Now we have an individual with a lot of influence that is intentionally lying to the public, knowing that lie will incite violence.
ABC.
This is failing industry in terms of late night television.
I get it. Listen,
this is their excuse. This
linear
is their
television,
reason.
failing industry. The whole world understands that. But Nexstar has a very clear financial interest in not getting on the wrong side of that guy whose clip we just played. Right? You don't see the problem.
You guys notice how she's more battered, she's more disturbed, she's more angry at ABC for putting Jimmy No Talent Kimmel on the bench. Then she was angry at the killer for taking the life of Charlie Kirk.
And I think right now they're looking at the larger business circumstances, and they're hoping that people like you and others would point that direction instead of focusing
you
on
at least see an ethical consideration for Carr, a conflict of interest for Carr, some sense of his position as a government official to make that kind of threat?
Since when is the FCC an attack dog for any political party?
Well, it has been against Howard Stern. It has been against others in the past, which I also object to. There is a slice out of our First Amendment for broadcast, which I think is wrong.
How do you explain you being more angry at ABC than you are at the guy that took Charlie's life? Guys, these people are not on the side of God. It is obvious by now.
If we believe in the First Amendment, we believe in the First Amendment. And now we have this fascinating thing happening on the right where you have Ted Cruz defending hate speech because he doesn't want his speech taken off. And so where does free speech, is your question, Abby, where is free speech here then? Where is that line? How do we know where that line is now?
Well, I think it's similar to the debate we've had this week beyond just this topic to people who said horrific, awful things after the assassination of Charlie Kirk last week. Now, I think it's awful, but they have a right to say that. But I also think employers have a right to say, not just in this instance, but in so many others we documented, if you say something that's inconsistent with the principles of our organization, be it a college, a business, a nonprofit, we don't want you on
You
our
think
payroll.
Fox should
Wow, somebody on CNN is making sense. What a day to be alive. Absolutely. You have the right to say whatever you want to say, as long as it is not hate speech, because hate speech is different than free speech. And also, you can say whatever you want to say, but there may be consequences, especially when we are dealing with private institutions. If you work for me and I know your values are totally different from mine, I'm sorry. I may have to say, you know what? I'm going to have to let you go. You can continue to say whatever you want to say. You can continue to have those same values, those same ideologies. However, here, we are conservatives. Here, we believe in God. Here, we believe in family. We believe in togetherness. We believe in respect. If you do not believe in those things, hey, can change your mind. However, you can be here. Rightfully so.
I think in all those cases, they have a right to do that. Whether
Do you
do
think
that-
they should? I'm asking for your judgment. You
No.
talked about a critic before, or you're a critic
Yeah, I mean,
now.
does it-
Do you
does it
think
offend-
Fox should
does it
fire
I didn't say
Brian
that they had
Kilmer?
to take Jimmy
I think
Kimmel.
it's-
I said they have a right to. In each of these cases,
Do you
they
think
have a-
they should at Fox?
I'm telling you, they have a right to. That's what I'm
but
talking
you're
about.
also, you continue to talk about how it's a business decision, but the reality is that whether it is a threat, whether it is Donald Trump also threatening to go after organizations just because they have different views than him.
Come on, CNN, have some decency. Have some decency. You really believe President Trump is doing that because the people simply have different views? Come on. I'm sure there are people in President Trump's cabinet that may have different views than him, and that's totally fine. However, when it comes to the core values, when it comes to principles, they must be protected. President Trump almost lost his life multiple times, and guess what? Fake news CNN still kept going with the same rhetoric that potentially led to all these assassination attempts. Even after we lost our brother Charlie Kirk, all these fake news media, they are still pushing the same rhetorics. Come on, guys.
That is using their power in order to silence the media and people that disagree with them. And that is what is alarming.
So there was some reporting tonight that Kimmel was going to address this on his show tonight, but rather than allow this company to handle this the way that maybe they saw fit, maybe he might have apologized. They decided to go this route, and I have to believe, I guess, because it's in part because Trump. You read one of the tweets, but here's what he said on August 6th after Colbert was taken off the air or his show was canceled. Here's what he said in terms of his order of operations here. Let's play the soundbite from Trump.
Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon.
Okay, let's just take a moment and let's pretend that Donald Trump is not the president. Let's pretend that it's somebody else. And that person says, I don't like this person, I don't like that person. They're going to be gone next because I want them gone.
You see what she's doing now? She wants to blame it on President Trump because of what Trump said. But the reality is, the writing was on the wall. Anyone paying attention knew all these type of entertainment shows that are not even entertaining, it was going to be the end for them. And especially if you take, for example, the Jimmy No Talent Kimmel live show, they lost half of their ad revenues in a period of 5 years. If you are a business and you lose half of your revenue and you continue to lose, the investors, all these people, they will start to say, okay, maybe it's time to exit. it's not rocket science. So you don't have to blame it on President Trump, because President Trump simply look at the numbers, look at the rating. The rating have been going down the hill for a long time. He's like, yeah, this show is going to be gone soon. But now, because the day is finally here, they're going to blame it on Trump, because every problem is because of Trump. It did not rain today. It's because of Trump. Or what? My wife forgot to put salt on the chicken. Damn it, it's because of Trump. May God bless you.
The question that we have to ask ourselves in this moment is, if you took the partisanship out of it right now, would you be comfortable with a president of the United States saying to any private corporation, television network, cable broadcast, that this is how they have to program their TV in terms of who is on and who is not?
I don't have a problem with the president expressing an opinion about people who express opinions about him. And regarding Kimmel, whether he was going to address it or not, I read that he was going to address it, but that he wasn't going to apologize, which I am sure was going to make Sinclair and Nexstar go crazy.
But what about Trump using the government to enforce it? Because it's not just his words. He is also using the government to enforce his words.
Well, what about Trump? What about the president of the United States of America? The guy that was elected by most of the American people to fix the mess Biden has created. He sees something happening that is dangerous to the public. You don't think he should and he must do something? But that's the thing. The Democrats, they are not used to leadership. They are not used to accountability. Anything, just like Kamala Harris left the border open, over 10 millions of illegal migrants came to this country. Nobody got fired. No accountability. So they thought, it's gonna be this. We got a new sheriff in town.
It is your opinion that they were threatening them. It is my opinion that they had a larger decision to make regarding their business interests.
Twice now. It is not my opinion that Brendan Carr said, you can either do this or I will do that. That's what he said. That's not my opinion. That's a fact.
Look, my view is all these companies have business decisions to make that are based on more than just what a singular person said in an interview. They've got affiliates to deal with. They've got advertisers to deal with. I promise you
not let them deal
that
with
when
it?
Jimmy Kimmel does what he does.
Why do you have to bring the FCC into it?
Well, look, he gave an interview. I can't tell you that if I were the head of the FCC, I would have given that interview. It sounded a little over the top to me, but I still believe that what's going on here has more to do with their business than it does with the government.
Absolutely, they were gonna end that show. Of course, they were losing money. Ratings were going down. Jimmy No Talent Kimmel simply gave them a reason to accelerate that decision, but the decision was already coming. And you know what's even crazier, guys? When Jimmy No Talent Kimmel made that senseless statement, CNN said nothing. They did not call Jimmy No Talent Kimmel to say, hey, you should not do that. You know the person is from the left. This is wrong. They stayed quiet. Now the president is taking action. They have a problem.
This is an attempt to intimidate the New York Times. And you've heard me on this show. I'm not crazy about the New York Times coverage right now. But they're trying to intimidate them. The same thing with ABC. The same thing with CBS. This is the power of the government brought down on speech, on the press.
Maybe it's just the power of someone in the government forcing a little self-reflection in these media companies for what they've been doing and the way they've been operating.
Free speech or not?
Of course I do.
But it means you're saying we have to tie our hands and never fight back. All of us who've been attacked
so let Jimmy Kimmel fight back.
So now it's about fighting back. Do you
yes, I think when he speaks out, when he says these people are bad and disgusting and they're
not,
I totally agree with that. But I don't believe that means an elected official like myself or others can say, no, just go ahead and talk. I'm not going to push back on you. That's outrageous.
Do you understand that the threat of the president suing you for saying things that they don't like, and the threat of the government preventing you from conducting businesses.
Well, the reason the president won in the past when he was a candidate was because of actions they took were contradictory to what they actually.
She keeps talking about free speech like there should never be accountability when you exercise that free speech. Of course, there can be accountability. Let's say if you're working for an institution and that institution has their policies in place, you come in, you don't follow those rules and policies, guess what? Soon you're going to be out of the door. That doesn't mean you cannot exercise your free speech. You can, but there's going to be consequence. It is what it is. But anyway, guys, let me stop the video here so my blood pressure doesn't go any higher. But it's always a good time to watch all these people losing it in total meltdown. Always a good day, but I think it's a good day for America. We have one less thing to worry about, at least for now. I don't think it's coming back. I don't think it's coming back. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as I continue to bring more, but most importantly, better content and call out the nonsense from the Democratic Party, call out the nonsense from the woke liberals. And of course, as always, you guys stay safe. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.